Every day, we move through a world of tiny decisions. Most of them so small, we barely notice them. A button pressed in an elevator, and a soft cue telling us the ride has begun. A tap at a gate, and a subtle sign that the path ahead is open. A phone unlocked on the commute, and a page quietly asking us to stay or move on. These moments feel simple, but underneath them is a quiet choreography, a rhythm between us and the systems that guide our steps. Someone shaped the feel of that button. Someone timed the opening of that gate. Someone imagined the trail your eyes would follow the instant that page appears. And suddenly, design isn't a distant concept. It's intimate. It's deliberate. A series of soft signals that guide us, tempt us, challenge us, and reveal how our minds find meaning. This is the world of user experience, a world built from how we sense, choose, and move, and the design decisions that shape how we live. Welcome to the opening chapter of the Impossible Design Challenge. On the leafy, sunlit campus of Jindal Global University, participants of the first and second MDes cohorts gather for 9 immersive days, joined by mentors and design leaders from Expected.org who shaped this with the university to make the impossible feel inevitable. But who are they? They are designers and professionals from industries, product, fintech, animation, and corporations like Microsoft, Intuit, Verizon, Deloitte, and rising startups. For months, they've been classmates in an online master's program in UX with a specialization in AI to prepare them for leadership roles in the industry. Now they meet each other and their mentors face to face for the very first time. This design challenge is the brainchild of Prasad Kantamneni, a designer, entrepreneur, and alumnus of Harvard Business School, who has trained and built high-performance design teams around the world. After founding and selling a successful company, his goal now is to reimagine professional education and train the next rung of design leaders in India. Even before generative AI became mainstream, Prasad has long advocated for using AI coupled with design thinking, the best tool for UX designers. He is aided by his colleagues Saurabh and Simran, who are not just very capable mentors in their own right, but also excellent design thinkers. Saurabh, who has worked with Fortune 500 companies for over 7 years, is a calming presence for his team, while Simran, with 11 plus years of working with high-ticket brands, is an upbeat dude with energy that keeps the entire cohort charged up. As soon as the designers start settling down, they are welcomed by Anugya, who is the head of online academic operations for JGU. As an alumnus of the university herself, Anugya extends the hospitality of JGU to the participants. With introductions out of the way, Prasad immediately kicks off the event.
We're all going to goof up, right? So do not worry about making wrong decisions. Do not worry about something happening, because this is life. Things happen. And we are here to work with you and make things happen. We've called this the Impossible Design Challenge.
Prasad tells them why this AI-aided design sprint is unlike any that these people might have seen before.
Number 1, velocity. How fast can you get the work done and how far can you go? It's all about speed. Now, just the scope of this problem, if you were to think about it in 9 days, would have been impossible even a year ago, right? But today we have completely new tools, new systems in place, so you are amply supported by those tools, okay? But the point is, how smartly are you going to use those tools to get the speed that you need? The second rule that we're going to do is no shortcuts. Just because you have 9 days, I'm not going to think about unplanned situations. No, right? You have more powerful tools. Your job is not to take shortcuts, because if you're going to create a tool that you've made shortcuts on, imagine if that gets deployed. You don't want to have that on you. Okay? So there are zero shortcuts. Okay? You need to hold yourself to that high standard. Right? Everybody on the same page? Yes. All right, good. My goal at the end of this is a couple of things, right? We're going to be recording all of this, putting this up on YouTube, right? The reason is there is no record so far. If you go online, everybody is talking about, I'm going to do this, prompt, I'm going to do this tool, whatever. But nobody has actually thought about how you're going to use AI tools end to end. Nobody's done that, right? And nobody has thought about how are you going to plug, because it's not just, AI is not simply prompts. It's about understanding different LLMs and saying, or different tools, and saying, how are you going to chain all of these? Maybe tool 1 comes at this place, tool 2, then tool 1, tool 4, whatever. So you need to think about the sequencing. You also need to think about how you're going to evaluate the outputs that come from your AI. Okay? So be very aware that what you're doing is actually going to create a dialogue within the larger community in terms of how we are using AI tools for our day-to-day work as designers. Okay? Your work is going to be inspiring a lot of people, good or bad, right? I mean, there'll always be people that will say bad stuff, but there's also going to be people that will learn from there and say, okay, let me make this better. Okay, and so this is what we're going to do. And again, like I said, failure, right? Don't worry about looking bad or whatever, because everybody fails. Everybody's going to look silly and stupid at some points. Okay, so don't worry about that. The point is, the work you do is going to help other people build on it. Okay, and so bring your best foot forward, and most importantly, have fun.
With that disclaimer, fun seems to probably be the last thing on the minds of the participants. And as if this load of expectation is not enough, Prasad gently reminds everyone of the standards that are non-negotiable.
Be proactive. Make sure you solve your problems. Okay. Now the thing is, they're going to be interesting M. Night Shyamalan type of twists. In my assignments, you never get a straight line. So in this one too, you're going to have twists. Okay. So think about how else you can solve the problem. What else you can do. Okay, just because the door seems closed doesn't mean you do not have a way to get the job done. Okay, be creative, challenge each other. Okay, be on time. When you're not on time at the beginning of the session, the doors are closed, you're not coming in for the rest of that session. You can join the next session. Okay, so be very aware of that, and it might be very possible that you have 5 people but one person is out. So that one person is not contributing for your team for that session. Okay, so be very careful about that. Okay, it's a safe environment. Ask whatever questions. Now, even though we are recording and we are going to be putting it up on YouTube and all that, do not be afraid of asking questions. Right? If you have certain sensitivities like, hey Prasad, I think this might make me look bad, please share it. Right? Our goal is not to make you look bad, but the goal is to have a dialogue with the larger community. So we will try to our best to accommodate your concerns. Okay? Be kind and courteous to each other, because everybody is going to be under pressure as day 1, day 2, as the days get moving, the pressure will keep increasing. Right? So be kind and realize that everybody is trying to get the same thing done. Okay? And respect each other and respect each other's privacy.
But we haven't yet talked about the problem statement that these designers are supposed to tackle. What is it? Before they can get an answer to this quest, Prasad introduces them to their first activity, the Marshmallow Challenge.
This is a challenge that's been given around the world. Okay, all the way from kindergarten to postgraduate, PhDs, whatever. Everybody has done this. So the Marshmallow Challenge is about not taking things seriously.
Prasad explains what the challenge is all about.
Each team will be given 20 sticks of spaghetti. Everyone also gets 1 meter of sticky tape. Then you have 1 meter of string. Your goal is to create a freestanding structure with the marshmallow. Yeah, you have to increase the height of the marshmallow. Okay? You cannot be touching and or holding the structure after 15 minutes. Use as much or as little of the material that's been given to you. The entire marshmallow must be on the top. Do not eat the marshmallow or cut it into pieces. This is not legal. The more educated we get or the more we train ourselves, we somehow come to believe that, you have to plan, you have to strategize, and you have to, overthink the problem. Whereas the successful way of doing it is just having fun and understanding what is the core problem. If you understand the core problem is increasing the height of the marshmallow, you succeed. If you think about all the other stuff and waste your time thinking about building material shapes and all that, it becomes harder.
All right, the objective seems clear enough. Make the tallest freestanding structure using the stuff given. Should be easy enough for our seasoned designers. Should it? Well, not exactly, as our participants soon begin to realize. Among the ingredients given for the challenge, the spaghetti is brittle, the tape and the string are given in limited measure, and the marshmallow itself is quite heavy. Looks like there are a lot of real-world constraints. Quite like any design task if you think about it.
Every project fails or succeeds for the same reasons. Either people don't, test early enough, they don't plan for their time, they don't have facilitation, or they end up taking themselves seriously, and so the team dynamic struggles because everybody's got an opinion.
With time running out, people start being a bit clever about their approach.
What the Marshmallow Challenge is set up to do is to help break down those barriers, help people realize that it is not just your idea that matters, it's about listening to your team, coordinating with them. It's about facilitating the timelines and being very aware of the constraints that other people have. Those are the things that help you succeed as a team. And that's the reason why we put the Marshmallow Challenge in there, is that people start understanding that there are other things other than your raw talent that help you succeed.
As the clock ticks away, most of the teams are still trying to finish their structures, hesitating to put their marshmallows on top. And before they realize it, time has almost run out. It's time now to find out the results of the challenge. Our mentors go around measuring the marshmallow towers created by the teams. The results are far from what anyone expected. There are scenes of intrigue, scenes of excitement, and scenes of disappointment as well.
I think there was one team that just basically said, let's go for the bare minimum, and they just took all the 20 sticks, put them together, tied it up, put the marshmallow on top and said, done. That was great. So they basically said, okay, we are going to do the bare minimum. But the challenge there is they stopped there. And what they should have done is, okay, in the first 1 minute or 30 seconds, we got to the minimum height. Now, how do I get it to the next? Increase it by another 50%, double the height or do something. So if they'd experimented more, I feel that they were really good to succeed. But the point was they just went there, stagnated, and they stopped and they didn't move forward. Now, the other teams, there was one other team which is an engineering team, and engineers by default have a better understanding of structures and stabilities. So they were thinking for stability right off the bat, and so they succeeded because I think of their background, their academic background. But again, they didn't put the marshmallow on there until the last minute. So if they had done the marshmallow earlier and kept iterating, they would have succeeded. And if these guys who had done it in the first minute, if they had kept doing more ideas and challenged themselves, they would have succeeded.
With the Marshmallow Challenge now over, it is time for everyone to reflect back on what exactly transpired here and how they are relevant to what will happen over the next few days.
Let's actually think through what works, what doesn't work, because the lessons you learn here are directly applicable to what you're going to do for the remaining 9 days. Okay? Now, one question that I do want to ask is, for a lot of you, when you did the marshmallow, it fell down. Why?
Balance. Without support, like structure was not good.
So what would you do differently? Plan. What would you have done differently?
Start with marshmallow planning, making it stable move a marshmallow first.
Start with the marshmallow?
Right, so that you should take the weight and then attach it.
Okay.
More modular kind of structure.
Interesting. All right. So let's actually think, and again, the fact that you guys were not able to do it is not surprising. This is how it happens every time. And I've done this challenge many, many times. The typical progress that we see is, first everybody looks at the stuff, marshmallow, pick it up, pick all the stuff, they orient themselves. Then there's a huge planning session that happens. Okay. Then we start building it. Okay. And then we say, yay! Right? So, it fails. Most of the time, it fails. Okay? So, for those of you that have managed to keep it standing, even if it's 1 inch above the table, you should congratulate yourself. All right. Second aspect. Right? What is the importance of facilitation? Because what happens when you look at this project is everybody is trying to get stuff done, right? Were there any teams where people were looking around and seeing what somebody else was doing and pointing? Which teams did that? Okay. That's really valuable. Because when everybody is focused on a specific task, somebody looking around and saying, hey, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Or somebody managing the time. How should you manage your time? We are running out of time. It may seem very trivial. It might seem like you're nagging your teammates. But actually, no. Everybody's so focused on getting it done, nobody realized we ran out of time. Right? And that's where the facilitators are really important. Okay? Now, what type of teams perform poorly, consistently? Okay? Turns out, MBAs. Okay? Because what do they do when they're doing MBA? They're learning how to plan. That is what is drilled into them for the duration of that program. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're planning and they're scheming and doing all that. But ultimately, what works is the physics of it, right? So it has to stand. So the reality hits when you leave the plan and start making things happen. Right? So, which guys are great performers? Right? Recent graduates from kindergarten. Okay? Because for them, they were just enjoying it. They weren't really thinking that it has to be the highest, tallest, whatever. They were just having fun. Okay? And when you have fun, they're also like, if you think about the MBAs have been trained to think in frameworks. Right? So you have to apply this framework and this, but the kids are just doing it. They're reacting to what needs to be done. Okay? So, a part of this session is to also teach you to not get too worried. The first semester, you have learnt all the rules. Okay? Now, the second semester is going to be focused on breaking those rules. Okay? And that's what these kids are doing. They kind of understand the physics, but they don't care. They're just doing it. Right? And that's the main aspect that you think about. Okay? Now, the average that you look at it is about 20 inches for the people that succeed. Okay? Business school students, way down there. Lawyers, not much better. Kindergarten students, about 25. Architects and engineers are really on the high end. Okay? So because that's what they train. For engineers too, we have to think about structural integrity and such like that. Okay? CEOs, not that great. We assume that CEOs are somehow smarter than all of us. They're not that great. They maybe do slightly better than average. Okay? But there is a twist to that. When you put the CEOs with their executive assistants, guess what happens? Magically increases. Right? What is the thing that these executive assistants are doing? Planning? No, they leave the planning to the CEO. They are facilitating, right? They're looking around and they're saying, okay, who's doing what? Have you thought about this? Have you not thought about it? Or, they're making sure, hey, we are running out of time. Let's make sure that there are equipment in place. They are the ones that are making the CEOs grounded on what needs to happen. In fact, some of the best CEOs have some of the best executive assistants, right? Because these guys are like, even if you look at the Prime Minister's office, who do you think is an executive assistant to the Prime Minister? It's an IAS officer, right? So these people bring in that ability to coordinate and facilitate that these leaders need to kind of perform at their best. Okay, so within your team, when you're doing it, always remember, don't just run to get the job done. One person, take a step back and look at the big picture, where everybody else is focusing on the details. Okay? Now, this is what you're looking at, right? You got all of this. How much time did you spend touching what piece of equipment here, right? So when you think about it, most people spend their time down here. But the problem was, increase the height of the marshmallow. You'll be measured by from the table to the bottom of the marshmallow, isn't it? So that is what you need to think. Focus on the marshmallow. So when you do your challenge, always ask your question, what is the problem I'm solving? Because somewhere along the way, you will forget what problem you're solving and you'll end up solving something completely different. Okay, and that is when you will see your instructors and your mentors coming in and saying, what is the marshmallow? Okay, what that means is, what is the core goal you're trying to achieve, and are you being distracted by all the other things you're trying to do? Okay, and this is where your design brief is really, really helpful. Writing your design brief helps you clearly articulate what your marshmallow is. Okay, and then you just keep referring back to it. Okay, if I'm doing this, does it help my goal? If it's not helping the goal, it's not my marshmallow. Okay, any questions, thoughts? All right, that's the end of it. Thank you very much. And this experiment was done by Tom Wujek, so he came up with this, a marshmallow challenge. So we obviously want to acknowledge that they've done something that has very profound ways in the profound lessons to learn in the way we approach our projects. Okay, so next 9 days, remember this.
With the outcomes of the Marshmallow Challenge setting the tone for these 9 days, the designers probably have an idea about the stakes that they must be ready for. The stakes in the form of the question, what does it take to save 10 million lives? Will they be up to the task? Let's find out in the next episode of the Impossible Design Challenge.